U.S. flag. See the flag of the Vatican flying on this American Airlines charter plane from Washington to New York. Congressman John Garamendi is a Democrat from California. He's a member of the Armed Services Committee. He was there today, along with almost everyone in the U.S. Congress, members of the House and Senate. How did it feel for you, Congressman Garamendi, to be an eyewitness to history in the U.S. Congress?
It was wonderful. It was absolutely wonderful. It was very spiritual. It was enlightening. And you come away from that session, and yesterday at the White House, you just go, this is a very, very good human being. And he's calling upon all of us to emulate that goodness. And we've got an enormous task ahead of us to come anywhere close to the goodness of this man.
How did you feel his message was received by people on both sides of the aisle? Because there was enough there for people on either side of the aisle to embrace. There was something probably to perhaps irk people on either side of the aisle. But he really did call on members of Congress to come together, to end gridlock, to try to accomplish things for those most in need.
Well, he laid out the human and the environmental challenges that we all face and told us as members of Congress that we have an enormous responsibility to meet the needs of the people we represent and also to have the courage to do so. And he laid it out there, the golden rule, do unto others as they would have them do unto you. And that was really speaking across the aisle. All too often we're throwing bricks across the aisle. And he suggested that might not be a very good thing to do. Measure others by the same way they're going to measure you. Different ways, themes that are common, but really spoke directly to us. And the challenges that we face, the environmental challenge, climate change, the poverty that does exist, not only here but around the world, refugees, immigration. He really laid it out and did it in a way that spoke to the moral underpinnings of each of those issues. It was profoundly important.
And once again, he spoke at length about the death penalty, the death sentence, which he strongly, of course, opposes. The tenor of his speech, Congressman, were you happy with it?
Yes, I was. I was because he spoke to our own personal moral responsibilities. And while we may see that differently as the issues come before us, nonetheless, the morality of what we do and what we must, and the issues we must address are quite clear. How we go about doing it, he really suggested a way to deal with that, and that is to find the common ground, to find the middle ground. And he did the same thing when he spoke at the White House yesterday. All in all, his visit here into Washington was, for me, a very, very important moment in my life and in the work that I've been able to do these many, many years.
You speak as an American, you speak as a Catholic, you speak as a member of the U.S. House of Representatives. But bottom line, Congressman, you're also a politician. Is it going to really have any difference in ending all the gridlock that has become so commonplace in Washington?
It will have an impact. Will we see it immediately? I don't know, but I know that many of my very conservative colleagues who are friends and myself, we're saying we really have to pay attention to this. Let's see if we can find some of the common ground. It's difficult. We know that we're faced with a very difficult situation next week as we come up against the funding of the United States government. And again, profoundly important issues are at stake. Homeless, children, food stamps, all of the kinds of things that we know poor people depend upon, as well as what are we going to do with our military. And he also spoke to that issue about the arms trade, of which the United States is the single biggest arms trader in the world. And he spoke to us very clearly about the moral responsibility that we have on that particular issue.
Congressman, we appreciate your time. It's been an extraordinary day in Washington, and now the focus turns to here in New York. And as our viewers can see...